Dungeon Master Doom is halfway done preparing a fiendish dungeon crawl for his new gaming group. And if you have been watching this and you're not a dungeon master, well, you are now on the path of becoming a dungeon master yourself. But in doing so, the entire game has now been spoiled for you as a player. But there are games within games as a dungeon master. Because even though you may know all the secrets of each dungeon, you will never truly know what your players will conspire to do against it. So, I'm halfway of preparing for the Pathfinder game. We've gone through the beginning with the statue that foreshadows the end boss, fought some drunk goblins in order to learn the combat system, and then we had to, before confronting the mysterious fountain, they had to deal with the goblins, which could go one of two ways. They either fight or make some kind of a treaty with them. So, and then I went through how this room would work with the fountain and then the trap room. And then it got me thinking, why are these traps and things in here? Now, it doesn't really matter, but because the game works perfectly fine and the players are confronted with conflicts and they overcome them, but there may be a questioning player asking, why is this trap here? So I have to figure that out. And I'm thinking a wizard from a long time ago was stashing all of his gems and things in here. But maybe he's dead now, because he made this dungeon a long time ago. And he'd have to stash and hide his stuff in a secret cave, because there aren't really banks for magical items, even in Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy or Pathfinder world. So I think I'll go with a wizard. But then the other problem is, why haven't the goblins taken advantage of all the junk in here? Possibly they're just too stupid to figure out the trap. Do they know how to use the fountain? Maybe they should be a little pumped up when the adventure is coming. I might do that because one of the players I hear is going to be a min-maxer, so we're all experienced, but the beginning boxed games are lots of fun. Alright, so and then the other problem I have with this dungeon, well, the spider has managed to eat one goblin, so I guess spiders don't have to eat that much food, and if he eats one goblin, then he's good for a year or something, who knows.
Yeah, the spider can crawl through the dungeon anytime it wants and grab an unsuspecting goblin. The goblins also don't have any problem opening up these doors, but I'm sure they keep this one shut. So we'll just say the spider doesn't have a great appetite. The goblins are getting eaten by the dragon, getting eaten by the spider, and can't figure out the traps. But they're hiding out here. It's the one safe place in the cave they found. It's safe enough. The guards at the front weren't very much help from the adventurers. As noisy as they were, too, it didn't alert them. But I'm saying because of the stone door. The stone door was shut, so it might have muffled the sound. So, I've also noticed, running through this dungeon by myself, that there are multiple ways to do this. Like in the beginning, I was thinking, well, you could just bypass the entire dungeon, go on the top, climb down the hole, and fight the dragon. Or you could just run right through, fight the goblins, climb up the cliff, fight the skeletons, and then go fight the dragon. And so I'm going to say the runes were done by a wizard, and say wizards centuries ago would hide treasures in the dungeons because they had nowhere to put them, but these wizards are now long gone. So that'll give them motivation to go through here. And if they talk to the goblins want the players to attack the dragon. So they'll tell them where the dragon is. And they also tell him that he has a weakness in the belly, which isn't hard to figure out. It's a cliche from The Hobbit. But the goblins also want their cursed ring. I'm not doing the dragon toy. They're going for the cursed ring. And I like the cursed ring because when I was 6 years old, and it was actually my very first Dungeons and Dragons game, and my neighbor was like 12 or something running a game, and the first item I picked up was a cursed sword, and it killed me. But I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was a little upset that I died upon receiving the first treasure I found. But the idea of a cursed sword just blew my mind. It's probably why I like the Call of Cthulhu games so much. But so I've lost track of what I'm talking about. How much time do we have? 7? Okay, well, we'll just have this as a recap episode of the dungeon halfway through. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more encounters to look at. And I'll prepare as much as I can for the players. But then, in role-playing games, you never know what will happen despite all the preparation and planning you do.
So saith Dungeon Master Doom.